Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're looking at two important, I would say, Marincess combos that come in with the new Trickstar support. Weirdly enough, the new Trickstar cards, the final card revealed is half Trickstar, half Marincess. It works for both archetypes. It's very helpful for both. And I think this card individually helps Marincess even more than it helps Marincess. So, or Marincess even more than it helps Trickstar. So I'm way more excited about this card for this deck. I still think it's good in Trickstar, but there's a couple combos here that I think significantly help what Marincess has been, because it's always been like this lower ceiling deck that's very consistently gives you follow up. But I think this card helps us beat cards that otherwise we weren't able to beat much more consistently. So I have two combos here. The first one is a 1-card combo. The second one is a 2-card combo, and we will show those off as we go. So first card combo is just basically Blue Tang. That is it. Just Blue Tang in hand, nothing else, and we'll even ignore her hitting something on her excavation effect as we go. So let's take a look here. Obviously, we're going to normal summon Blue Tang. We're going to use Blue Tang's effect. We're going to send the new card. If you do not know what this new card does, this is Marincess Aqua Angel. This card basically says if it's in grave or hand and you control a Trickstar or Marincess monster, you can special summon this from hand or grave. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material for any link, doesn't have to be Trickstar, doesn't have to be Marincess, just any link monster, this card lets you look at every card your opponent has in hand and every card that they currently have set on the field. It's very, very good, especially going first, being able to know your opponent's entire hand before they even give you any knowledge themselves. All right, from here, we're going to summon this. We're going to link it off for Sea Angel. We're going to go and fire it to go ahead and look at the opponent's hand, and we're going to add our Marincess dive. I think it's important here that we've looked at the opponent's hand. We know they, assuming for the rest of this combo, they don't have nib. If they have nib, you can take measures for it, but probably kind of like assuming they don't have nib, we're adding Marincess dive. We're firing off dive here. We're going to reborn the Blue Angel, and then we're going to go ahead and make Bahamut into Toad. We're going to link off for Correlate Enemy. We're going to reborn Blue Tang, Blue Slug, ag back one of the monsters. Then link, in which case we're finally linking off Blue Tang for the first time, which means she does get that Excavate 3. So keep in mind, one of these Marincess cards in hand is not always guaranteed. This is definitely like a Salamandra Great Foxy type effect where it's never guaranteed, but you probably have a little bit, slightly over a 50% chance to hit on this. So probably closer to 60%. So 2 out of 3 times you should probably be expecting to find something here, but you're never guaranteed. So you don't have to fully anticipate this card being here, but that's okay for the rest of the combo. From here, we're going to go and link those 2 monsters off for Coral Triangle, in which case we're going to get another add back off Coral and Enemy. We're going to pitch a card for Coral Triangle to search our wave, and we're going to pass from there. The key here, we're not guaranteed to have this Blue Tang in hand, so even if you cross this out of the hand, we still end with dive in hand for follow-up, a wave in hand as interaction, as well as the Toad. So those are interactions, is like an imperm-esque effect. That also makes Triangle like a pseudo towers till the end of the turn, but that's totally fine. We actually want our opponent to out the Triangle, even though she's only 1500. They should be able to walk over her, no problem. And then an Omni Negate. That's also adding a water back from hand. So regardless, we should have a Blue Tang in hand no matter what. Even if we didn't excavate another Blue Tang, we should be adding back the first Blue Tang back off of your Toad no matter what. Most likely your opponent's quote-unquote breaking this board, but not doing much after that, in which case Triangle's getting you back a Link 1 and the Coral and Enemy from Grave, which is a ton of value. That's going like straight into something that threatens their board. And that's really, really solid. Like, honestly, off of 1 card, you're telling me like now 1 Blue Tang gets you an Omni plus an Imperm-esque effect and a bunch of follow-up. That is a really, really solid payoff for a card that before was just like slightly worse than this, but I think it's just the general power creep. Also just the general benefit of seeing the opponent's hand, looking for nib, knowing we don't have to worry about nib. But the other big thing about it is, I think, and I didn't explain this fully when the card got revealed, this card is good in any deck. If this is a decent extender already, right, which it is, it's already a decent extender that could work in like any deck. Might appreciate an extender like this. But then also lets you look at the opponent's hand early in combos. That is even more valuable in a deck like Marincess, and even Trickstar for this matter, in decks that are lower powered, right? Our interactions are not plentiful and they're not insanely strong. They're decent, and there's a couple, and then like you usually play 15, 18 hand traps so that you have a couple extra interruptions in hand or whatever. So when you have weaker slash less interactions in a lower ceiling deck like this, it is even more valuable to know what your opponent's hand is, because now it makes your interactions that much more impactful, because you know exactly where to fire them, or you should, right? If you're playing meta decks, you're playing decks that are prevalent in the format, you do your research, you know the best way to hit decks and the best choke points, yada, yada, yada. You can hit them at the optimal times to put yourself in a good position. So I think it's super, super useful for this deck, and that's the 1-card combo. Second card combo is going to be a little bit different. So starting off here, you obviously start. This is by the way, this combo specifically can be opened a bunch of different ways. This can be Blue Tang plus Aqua Angel. This can be Blue Tang plus Spring Girl. This can be Blue Tang plus Pascalis. Keep in mind there's also Signet Mining in there, which can be a replacement for either side of that. But Blue Tang needs to be part of it, which is technically 6 copies with her and Signet Mining. And then the other copies, which are probably 7 to 10 copies, just because Signet Mining can also be a search for one of those cards as well. That's actually decently consistent, this 2-card combo. So any 2 level 4s basically in the deck, as long as one of them is Blue Tang. So Blue Tang, we're sending Aqua Angel. Right? We're going to send that early. We're going to fire her immediately, and we're immediately going to jump into Bahamut Toad. We really want to do this early because this is 4th summon. Or is this 4th? 1, 2? Yeah. Toad is 4th summon here. If you don't sequence it this way, Toad can't be 5th summon. It's just awkward that way. And so you really want to make this early. If you're not going to use the effect to look early, you want to at least force a hand trap early. In which case you're kind of like forcing them a hand trap out, and then even if they want to like hand trap Nib later, they have to fire another hand trap at that point. And so they're 2 cards out of the hand. You still probably this is a 2-card combo. You may end up with still 2 cards in hand. It's like you can kind of beat them at that point in terms of advantage at least, and then hope you have enough hand traps to keep them from killing you. But assuming we haven't looked at the hand, but just playing around Nib, we're going to go Bahamut Toad super early here. If you do, think they have Nib, you can go into Coral and Enemy instead of going into Bahamut, and basically already put them in a position of like, oh, well, even if I Nib, they are getting an add back off of Coral and Enemy no matter what. And so it puts them in a really awkward position. But this is really good. So from here, you've already detached the Blue Tang, so you can just summon the Spring Girl by detaching Blue Tang or banishing Blue Tang. You're going to go ahead and make Coral and Enemy and Sea Angel. You're going to keep linking up. This is going to trigger your girl, who's going to allow you to look at your opponent's hand. So even though it's a little bit later, you're still safely playing under Nib, but still getting to look at the rest of the hand to, again, same position, know what is in their hand, what's engine, what's non-engine. The only card you're not going to know is the card they draw for turn, and other than that, you know their entire makeup of their hand. And if you know their deck decently well and you've done your research, you should know the most optimal parts to hand trap their deck in a fashion that should at very least leave you in a position where you cannot get killed no matter what. In which case you should hopefully be able to play next turn and maybe get back into the duel with follow-up. That should be the goal. That should be the worst case scenario goal, is like, I see their hand, I know how to make it so they can't kill me. My deck's really good with follow-up, I'm going to have a bunch of follow-up, and then I can play into them next turn. That needs to be the bare minimum goal. So anyway, Coral Triangle, when we link off Coral and Enemy, we're adding back a monster. We're going to use Coral Triangle to get Wave. We're going to summon one back, make Blue Slug at the end of the combo, just because there wasn't really a great spot to make it before, but we do want one more piece of follow-up for later on. So we're going to grab Spring Girl one more time here off of her before we end up linking up into the Bubble Reef. So this is a draw every single standby phase. It's also going to be able to summon back Blue Tang on our next standby, or on our next turn as well, which is actually pretty decent too. So there's value there in terms of follow-up if we have like another water monster in hand, but this should be pretty dang good. I mean, right? This is a draw. This is a wave that also makes our Bubble Reef towers, and a Toad Omni Negate that also is adding back a card. So quite a bit of follow-up there. And Triangle's engrave as well. I can't forget Triangle is already engrave, which is pretty insane follow-up because, again, Toad sends itself, so it clears itself off the field, and then if our opponent just deals with the Bubble Reef, which in a lot of players' minds is what you want to do, but in our mind, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't out it, it's drawing us a card next turn, and then also summoning Blue Tang back, which is just a ton of value in itself. If they do out it, Coral Triangle is live on top of the Spring Girl in hand, on top of the water that we're adding back off of Toad. Like, it's just damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's really, really brutal. So I really, really like it. I think this is, even as a one of in the deck, I think this is a significant buff to Marincess. I really, really think if you thought Marincess was just okay before, they need to go up a notch in your mind with this card, legitimately. So yeah, those are two simple combos. I mean, I didn't go too super deep on them, but simple 1-card combo that utilizes this card really well, simple 2-card combo that utilizes this card. I think they're in a good position. So there you go. There's the video. Let me know your thoughts down below. What you think of specifically these two combos, as well as maybe some other combos or maybe other sequences that you think make more sense. I'm not a Marincess main by any means. I like the deck, but I haven't played it in a while, so this is just me messing around with the new card. Doing a couple different sequences with the deck and figuring out that I think for 2-card and 1-card combos, these seem to be some of the more sense-making routes in my mind, but I'm also not 100% sure on these. So if you're a Marincess main, you have some other ideas that you want to throw out there, please throw them down below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But other than that, I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. I will see you in the next video. Subscribe for more things, combo tutorials, news videos, discussion videos, and basically anything else Yu-Gi-Oh! You guys know I'm around for that. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.